Caution: the following program contains major spoilers about the thing that is discussed in it. Therefore, if you have not experienced the thing in question, you may not want to listen to it. Lastly, as a side note, it also contains terrible humor and adult content. Welcome to our world, motherfuckers. Greetings, retards and retardettes. This is your host, John Christopher Wagner, and my co-host, James Michael Wagner. And we are here to bring you the second episode to our podcast series, Defend Avenge. Now, just as a reminder, Defend Avenge is a series where we take things, they can be anything like movies or music or video games from any kind of medium, and we take things from a medium that get mixed reviews, generally from the general public or critics, for basically mixed or low to negative reviews that we like, and explain why they're better than what a lot of other people say they are.
In other words, we stand up for the things that, for these things because they can't stand up for themselves. So somebody has to do it, and we just happen to have that amount of time on our hands.
Yes, we speak for the things that cannot speak for themselves. So we give the things voices when they don't have their own voices, basically. So for today's episode, listener, we are going to talk about the Army of Two series.
This is a very special franchise.
Yes. Now, to our knowledge, the Army of Two series comprises of 4 things, I'd say. No, 5. Excuse me, it comprises of 5 things to our knowledge. They include Army of Two, the video game for PS3 and Xbox 360.
Yep.
Army of Two, the 40th Day, also for PS3 and Xbox 360.
That's the sequel, and then the third sequel. Second sequel, I mean.
Yeah, second sequel, Army of Two, The Devil's Cartel for the PS3 and Xbox 360. And then there was also a graphic novel called Army of Two, Dirty Money.
That was a prequel to the first game.
Yes. And then there was a 6-part comic book miniseries called Army of Two, Across the Border, which took place in between Army of Two and Army of Two, the 40th Day.
Yeah, so pretty simple timeline here.
Yes.
Totally unlike like Metal Gear Solid or Star Wars.
We will not talk about Army of Two, Across the Border because we didn't read the 6-part comic book miniseries, but we did play all 3 games.
And I want to add, to be honest, we didn't find out about the 6-issue comic book miniseries until maybe like a couple days ago.
Yeah. So we were unaware of its existence until recently. But we did play the 3 video games together, which is the core of the franchise, and we did read the graphic novel. So we will talk about the graphic novel a little bit, basically just mention it, and then the other 3 games we'll go into more detail with.
I think it was called a graphic novel.
Yes, it's basically a comic book, but
it's one issue though.
Yes,
but I think most people refer to it as a graphic novel.
Technically, comic books and manga and things that are graphic novels.
To be clear, the comic book we read was Dirty Money.
Yes. So Dirty Money, we read a long time ago, so I don't really remember much from it.
And we really don't know. We didn't what the reviews are like
No.
for, because we didn't really look them up.
I mean, in my opinion, as a prequel to the whole Army of Two franchise, it was okay. I mean,
it's your standard, typical action pack.
Yeah, I don't really remember what happened. I think the art was good. You know, in terms of gore, it was about the same. It wasn't really more gory than the game.
It wasn't Shakespearean.
Maybe a tad more gory, and I think the story was okay. So
yeah, I don't remember much.
Yeah, but anyway, go check it out if you can get it cheap enough.
I don't think it costs that much.
Yeah. So if you're an Army of Two fan, go check out the graphic novel, and you can also go check out the 6-part miniseries too.
Yeah.
So let's get into the video games, which are the core of the whole series. So the first game, Army of Two, that came out in 2006.
No.
2007?
No, I think it was 2008.
2008.
I mean, you can always look it up if you want, but I think
it came out in 2008. So it wasn't a launch title. I know that. So anyway, we'll start off with the plot for it. The plot was I would say, typical action movie type plot.
We're going to be more vague about the plots here because that's not really the point of Defend Avenge.
In video games, plots are important. Don't get us wrong. They're good. They shouldn't be shitty. But they take a backseat to gameplay and fun factor and things like that.
I mean, the idea is that Elliot Salem and Tyson Rios, the main characters, are the protagonists of the game. They're from the U.S. 75th Ranger Regiment, and basically they're like in the military, and then they leave to become private, leave for the private sector. So in essence, they become mercenaries, and basically in the first game, you just traveled all kinds of shithole countries.
Mm-hmm.
And then they like do different missions, and then there's like a conspiracy.
And they get framed.
Yeah, they're framed for something.
I think they're framed for killing an Alaskan senator who's pushing really hard to fight a bill that would privatize the military.
Yeah, something like that.
Because he's like on a bridge and they like shoot a missile at it and it blows up and they fucking kill him.
And then of course they end up in Miami, Florida, and then the Golden Girls get mixed up to it. And then during the whole level, they just keep playing the Miami song that Dorothy and Rose wrote for that one episode of the Golden Girls. They put it on a loop that never ends.
No,
that part's not real.
Does not happen.
With the Golden Girls.
Does not happen in their listener.
But there is a hovercraft.
Cool. Okay.
And then also,
I want to make a note that I forgot to make earlier is that we played all 3 games together in split screen co-op. And for consistency reasons, we played the same characters across all 3 games. So I played Tyson Rios,
and I played Elliot Salem.
So that way, and then we played them. You know, I was player 1, he was player 2. So then I had the top part of the screen because it divides it in half horizontally, and then James had the bottom half of the screen.
Yeah, I was this bitch through the whole run.
Yeah. So we just want to explain how we played together. So, okay. So what were you saying before?
Well, I was going to just mention the vehicles again in the first game. That you got to use a hovercraft.
Okay, so it was the Alan Parsons project.
Yes, for like 2 levels.
Okay.
And I remember the hovercraft being okay. Also, as a side note, there was supposed to be a Jeep and a tank in the game, but they took them out of the game because of pacing issues. Because it slowed everything down, so they got rid of the Jeep and the tank. That's what I heard. And also, there was supposed to be a shooting range in the game that you could test your guns out at.
Yeah.
You know, when you buy them and upgrade them. But it didn't meet, I guess, their standards, so they got rid of the shooting range. But that was supposed to be in there, so these are just some fun little factoids for you.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it wasn't that good, so they scrapped it.
Okay, anyway, for the game itself, I thought the graphics were good. The character models are big and detailed. The gameplay, I think, was fun.
Simple, but fun.
You have Agro. That's where you where one person distracts all the enemies.
Yes, they get all the
they
enemies'
draw
attention
to them, and then another person can flank them.
And this is not an Army of Two exclusive thing.
Yeah,
other games use it too.
Which is, I did not know that until recently either. I thought Agro was exclusive to Army of Two, but
honestly, I can't name any other games that use it except for Army of Two.
That's the only game we've played where they actually specifically mentioned Agro. Not Agro.
Oh, and then when you do it, it shows on the screen there's like a meter.
Which is cool. Agro's cool because then it tells you who's drawing the enemy's attention, so the other
and like how much.
Sneak up on them. So that's cool. Yeah. There were also these things called back-to-back segments where they did this thing where the characters were...
Yes, this is not like back-to-back, like masturbating.
No.
Not like the Family Guy thing with like...
Nope, not the Family Guy thing with Brian and Chris.
Yes. And this is not a sexual thing.
It's also unrelated to the Hammerfall cover song off of Legacy of Kings. That back-to-back is not this back-to-back. So this back-to-back is when Tyson Rios and Elliot Salem said back-to-back, you shoot enemies like I think it's in slow motion. And there are only a few parts that use it, and it only lasts for maybe a minute.
Yeah, it's kind of like a gimmick.
Yeah,
but it's cool.
Like a gimmick thing. It's cool, but it's a very small part of the game. But
in other words, you kind of provide cover fire for the other person.
I think it's when they get surrounded.
Yeah, it's always like a circular.
Get the killer buddy to get unsurrounded. So that was cool. Also, and then of course it's just mostly killing waves and waves of enemies. And I think they make stupid jokes and stuff like it. It's about their bromance.
Well, they're macho, man.
Yeah, bro. It's like the bro code.
Yes.
And they just make stupid jokes and everything.
But the dialogue,
fine.
The dialogue fits the character, so that's how they would act. And there's language.
And the voice acting's good too. Yeah. And there's cursing and and lots of fun stuff. But what's really cool is the armory, because that's all I think in all three games, right? I think it's called the armory.
Yes.
And it
is not the White Devil armory from Overkill.
But as a recommendation, whoever makes these Army of Two games, in future games, when you customize your weapons in the armory, please play White Devil. Please play
the Armorist.
The Armorist by Overkill off of White Devil Armory during the armory part of the game, because that'd be super badass to do. So anyway, with the armory is you get to customize your weapons, and I have to say that this is one of the best weapon customization systems in a video game I've ever seen.
It's like batshit crazy, though.
Oh my god, it is like gun porn. Like torture porn and fashion porn. I mean,
yes, it's the ultimate gun porn.
Yes, you start off with a whole bunch of different weapons, and there's a lot of them, from automatics to semi-automatics and revolvers and things.
Sniper rifles, bolt action, whatever.
And then you can basically customize or upgrade every part of each weapon.
Stocks, undermounts, barrels,
ballistic shields,
sights,
extended clips. I have to admit, it is fucking awesome.
It's almost too much,
actually. It's really cool. It's orgasmic. And I'm pretty sure they're all based in reality or real weapons and stuff, because they seem real. Like some of the things they have, are realistic, like the ballistic shields might not be real.
It could be stretched like Roni Kenshin, but for the most part, I think it's more realistic.
Yeah. So then with that is that, of course, the more people you kill, the more money you get. So then you can upgrade your weapons, which is really cool. And they actually do make a difference if you get undermounts or you get scopes, or you can actually, it's easier to aim, the gun's more steady. Same thing with stocks. If you get better stocks,
yeah,
you can aim better too. So they do make a difference.
And you can, some things let you reload faster.
Oh, same thing with muzzles. Those barrels, longer barrels, better muzzles. Those give you better accuracy too, and there is a noticeable difference. And of course the clips, you can get bigger clips, which there's a difference too because they hold more rounds.
And then there's armor piercing rounds, all kinds of stuff. We can't go through everything.
But there's also an interesting thing is they have silencers. They have silencers too, which are kind of useless because Army of Two is not a stealth game. So
none of them are.
There are very few instances where
the idea is to sneak up on people and take them out quietly.
There are very few instances where the enemies are unaware of your presence. Most of the time, they are aware.
Generally,
of your
the whole world is after you, so they're fucking pointless.
So using silencers really doesn't make any sense.
No.
So I don't know why they're in there, but anyway, so they're actually kind of a waste of money if you buy them. But one neat thing is they have bottle silencers.
They're the cheap bastard silencers.
And what these are is they're soda bottles. You know, like if you go to Pick and Save and buy the store brand Big K cola 2-liter bottle, and you put that and you use that as a silencer on your gun, and it's $15 a piece. I can go and I can get a bottle at Pick and Save for 89 cents. Why is the game making me pay $15 for a soda bottle to stick on my gun as a silencer when I can get one at the store for 89 cents? I don't know why. But anyway, though, that you can use them, but they only work once, I think, right?
I think so, and then you have to buy another one.
Yeah, and then it's broken, it doesn't work anymore, and you have to buy another one, so they're kind of stupid. We did it only a couple times as a novelty thing for shits and giggles, and, they're okay, but it's more like a gimmick thing that kind of gives it adds more flavor to the game.
It's kind of like a homebrew feeling.
Yeah. So anyway, Army of Two got mixed reviews, and we think it's okay. So if you're looking for a third-person shooter to play with a hot chick naked, then I would highly recommend Army of Two. You can get dirt cheap now. And we played on the PS3. I'm assuming the Xbox 360 version is identical.
Or very similar.
Yeah.
Usually it's just little lighting differences.
Yeah, or little graphical things.
I think the general complaints were that it was that it was repetitive,
but most games are.
And I'm sure people criticize the plot, but it's your typical action movie plot.
Yeah, the plot I thought was fine. It was a little confusing, but again, to us at least, video games are repetitive.
We have low standards,
especially third-person, first-person shooters, because they're third-person, first-person shooters, and usually the plots are complicated or convoluted or hard to understand for us anyway. Also, another thing I just remembered is the parasailing sequences in Army of Two. Out of all three games, this is the only game that has this. And it is weird because I think there's two of them, and they're only a minute long.
Yeah.
Where Ellie Salem and Tyson Rios strap themselves a parasailing thing, and they have to fly into something or infiltrate a place or something. And when we played the game and we did the very first sequence, we would always fail because we could not figure out how to move the thing you're flying on. To land where you're supposed to land, we could not do it. And it took for 15 minutes, we were pushing all these buttons and we were getting pissed as hell, and we just could not fucking figure out how to do it. And then somehow, I think we might have looked it up on the internet or just by sheer accident.
Yeah, I don't remember.
We found out that you use the stupid motherfucking gyroscope in the PlayStation 3 controller.
Do you remember that, listener?
To move the thing so Elliot Salem and Tyson Rios can fly the parasail thing. And nowhere does the game tell you that.
Now that I do remember, I think.
In the tree, because I think there's a training thing at the beginning of the game, some training levels. They don't tell you this.
Yeah.
I don't think the instruction manual, which is 3 pages long, tells you this. And so our only idea is you're supposed to figure this out on your own. How in the hell is somebody supposed to figure this out? And for all of you who don't know what I'm talking about with the gyroscope and the PlayStation 3 controller, that makes sense because in our personal experience, there are only 2 games in this universe that use that functionality of the PlayStation 3 controller. And it's in the 6-axis, the DualShock controller. It's like a motion thing, and it's Resistance Fall of Man, which was a launch title, and that was only used sparingly when I think if you got lit on fire in the game, you shook the controller to put the flames out.
Oh yeah.
And then in Army of Two, you just used it to glide the parasailing, and that was the only part of the game that used it. And to my knowledge, no other game ever used that feature of the controller, and I think it was just some weird idea Sony had that they abandoned because they found out that it was useless. Because it was a primitive motion controller type thing, but there wasn't much you could do with it. Because the way it started was, I think Sony said that, as a side note, I think Sony said when they released the PS3, they originally created the 6-axis controller with the motion function, and it said that was going to be the future of gaming, of controllers, because the rumble feature was last generation.
Yeah, so, we all know how that turned out.
So they couldn't have both functions together. I guess it would have been too expensive to use. So they went with the gyroscope thing as opposed to rumble. So when the PlayStation 3 came out, the controllers only had this motion thing with no rumble. And then eventually Sony figured out or found a cost-effective way to combine the rumble feature and the gyroscope feature into one controller. So thus, when they did that, they created the 6-axis controller, which replaced the 6-axis controller, or it just had the gyroscope feature. And then when they added the rumble in with the gyroscope feature, they created the DualShock 3 controller, and then that replaced the 6-axis controller. And then when you played Resistance Fall of Man with the DualShock 3 controller, if you wanted to use the rumble feature of the DualShock 3 controller, you had to download an update, because Resistance originally didn't use the rumble feature because the 6-axis controller didn't have it, because Sony wasn't planning on using the rumble feature for any of their games anymore. Well, that lasted like a year, and then they add the rumble feature into the gyroscope controller, which created the DualShock 3 controller. So then all the games, from then on, used the rumble feature, which was funny, is that the 6-axis controller, the gyroscope feature was never used again after Army of Two, to our knowledge, but the rumble feature is used to this day. So apparently the future proved that the rumble feature is not going away anytime soon, but that gyroscope thing sure did.
Now, if you didn't have that controller for Army of Two, you had the other one. How did you do the parasailing thing then?
The original controller, the 6-axis controller, had the gyroscope. That was the original plan. It was to have that, not the rumble, because that was going to replace the rumble.
So they always had those.
Yes. But then they combined the rumble with it, which was a smart idea.
What happens if you... No, what I mean then is that you said the controller that came out afterward just had the rumble feature.
No. The 6S controller just had the gyroscope feature. Then, because they weren't going to have both features in the controller, so they went with the motion thing. Then they released the DualShock 3 controller, which combined the rumble and the gyroscope.
So the first controller just had
the gyroscope,
and then the second one had both.
Yes.
Okay.
There was no controller that just had rumble. The 6-axis had just gyroscope. DualShock 3 had gyroscope and rumble.
Okay, well, let's move on.
Okay. So then anyway, that was just a weird side note about the parasailing thing and the gyroscope function of the controller, which died within a year or two.
Yes, and then there was some downloadable content.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we also played all the downloadable content for all 3 games too. The free stuff and the stuff you had to pay for.
And no multiplayer, online, multiplayer.
Also, the downloadable content for Army of Two was free, and it was 2 extra levels. One level was an alternate ending to the last level of the game, so it was a different version.
It was a more epic, I think, type battle thing.
I think it was. I think it was a more epic final battle.
I think that's what I read. It was supposed to be
more epic. And then the second level, I think, had nothing to do with the main story. It was just a bonus mission.
Yeah, I think it was another mission.
It had nothing to do with the campaign. It was just an extra thing. Both were fun. Both were worth playing. And since they're free, they're both worth downloading. And also, when you download the DLC, it also changes the menu selection screen of the game.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, after you download it makes it look different.
Okay, if that's it.
So we recommend Army of Two. It has great sound, good graphics, good story. It's fun. It's repetitive though. It's simple. but most of those games are, and get the 2 bonus levels because those are fun too. So then,
let's if we're done with that, then we'll
Yes.
slide into
Okay.
Army of 2 the 40th
yeah.
game.
Now, Army of 2 to 40th Day came out in 2010. I think.
I think so.
Okay. So what was the plot for that?
Well, in keeping with shithole countries, of the
Shanghai.
first one, you go to Shanghai, China, and you were in China in the first game, but not Shanghai
Okay.
for like a level or whatever.
And also, as a side note, Kane and Lynch Dog Days also too took place in Shanghai.
And as far as we know, not in the same universe.
Yeah, they're not in the same universe.
So they go back to China, but to Shanghai. In the first game, when they went to China, they went to like the Li Jiang River. That was the area, if I'm pronouncing that right. So this time they go to Shanghai. So basically, in this one, they have to meet up with a contact called what's his name? JB, not BJ.
Yeah,
For blowjob.
Once again, we played this game a few years ago, so we're kind of...
And then basically things go horribly wrong, and then they end up having to fight a guy called Jonah, who is like some kind of religious nut, I think.
See, he's the guy who got swallowed by the whale in the Bible, right?
I think so.
That's probably where the reference comes from.
I don't know. That's speculation.
Okay.
But anyway, he's like kind of like a merc type person too.
Because there's other mercenary organizations.
Yes, and then he has his own gangland cronies as well. And then you have to fight him because he's trying to blow up Shanghai.
Okay. So then with this game again, the graphics are about the same, I'd say. I don't know if they were...
Well, I'm sure they're better.
I'm sure they were improved because usually when they make sequels of video games, they do improve the graphics because the technology improves.
And then, of course...
And the developers get more comfortable with the hardware, so they know how to utilize it better to make better kick-ass graphics.
Yes, and then a lot of the elements are the same from the first game, like weapon customization.
Oh, yeah.
You don't need to go through that again.
The extremely robust weapon customization systems in place,
which we'll briefly mention,
is still intact, and it's still just as fucking awesome as it was the first time
absurd.
around.
I don't know if you get any vehicles this time around. I don't remember any. But you have back-to-back, I think, is there.
I think you do.
Agro's there.
Yep, Agro's there.
You have, like, the mini-bosses. Were those in the first game?
In the first game, you did have brutes or heavies, the people with the...
I think they were heavies.
Okay. In the first game, you did have heavies who had the superior armor, and you shoot their helmets off to kill them.
Okay, in this game, you have them, too.
Okay, yeah.
I think so.
I think they're all 3 games.
And some differences, though, is this game is known for having there's like little side missions you can do, like you can save people.
There's a little more to it than the first game.
So you can save people or let them die.
Yeah, there are hostages, and you can save them, or you can let them die, or you can kill them yourself.
And then there's
a bastard.
And then there's Trunks where you have to kill all the bad guys before they lock the trunk.
I remember that. You get into a little area, and there's some bad guys there, and there's like a trunk or a chest. You know, like the ones from the Legend of Zelda games. And if they find out you're there, they'll go lock it. They'll try to lock it. And the problem is once they lock it,
you can't unlock it.
You cannot open it. So if you want what's in that awesome trunk...
Which can be any kind of shit.
Weapon,
there's all kinds of shit.
There's all kinds of cool shit in them. So if you want what's in that fucking trunk, you have to kill everybody before they can lock it or close it.
And if I remember, you got some pretty cool shit.
Yeah. And then I think we got all the trunks. I think we killed everybody.
And then another...
And I think you got weapons and upgrades for your weapons and things like that, or money. I don't really remember, but it was useful stuff.
You might have got, like, items and stuff.
Yeah, useful items. It wasn't bullshit stuff.
And then another big feature of the game, at least the name only, was you had, like, these morality choices, like these situations where you had to make a decision of what to do or not to do. And the reason why I say that they're a big deal in name only is because the decision didn't affect the game.
No.
Like, if you made a decision, it would show you what happened later on, but it didn't affect anything in the story, the gameplay.
It had nothing to do with the game.
It was totally unrelated.
Yeah. And it was so when you made a moral choice, you would be given an option. You pick one, and then it would show you the outcome. And then when it would show you the outcome, it was done like in 2D, like hand-drawn animation, and it was still frames, I think.
Yes, which was kind of neat.
Yeah, it was kind of neat.
But it was a very gimmicky thing.
It was weird. It was kind of out of place because the game is, a video game is 3D and everything, and they have pretty good graphics, and then it shows you these 2D hand-drawn, like, still frame cartoons where the animation's worse than the game of what your choice did. So it's kind of like those really old He-Man cartoons. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
When it's still frame and it's really lame. I don't think it was that bad. And they only lasted a few seconds long.
No, but the whole morale things were gimmicky because they didn't really do anything to the game.
They were neat, don't get me wrong, but they were kind of pointless, really, because they didn't affect the game. They really didn't affect.
And then there was one at the ending where you had to make a choice.
Oh yeah, where I think the goal was Jonah would blow up the city, or you had to kill like Elliot.
Well, you had to. One person had to kill the other person,
or Jonah would blow up the city.
Or something, yeah.
And then I think we chose it where I fucking killed Salem.
Yeah,
so I like shot him.
He blew my fucking ass to hell.
I didn't blow your fucking head off. I think it just shot you, and whether you died or not was ambiguous.
It might have been a gut shot, which would have been a couple painful hours to die.
Yes, but anyway, again for that game, graphics were good, story was good. People said the story was superior to the story in the first one, and it might have been.
Yeah, there might have been a little more to it.
Also, there were items to collect. For example, like they had those little Chinese cats.
Yes.
Okay, if you want to know what I'm talking about, go to basically any Chinese restaurant, and you will see a cat sitting on the counter like a white cat with one arm that goes back and forth.
It's like golden colored.
Yes. So an army of two, they have those, and you shoot them.
Yes, you shoot those little fuckers to hell and back.
You shoot them in the 40th day, and we found them all, and we shot them all. And what do you get when you shoot them?
I don't remember
To be honest with you, I don't think you get anything.
I think you just collected them. I don't know if you got anything.
At the end of each mission, they'll tell you how many cats were in the level and how many you shot.
And in case you're wondering, because I know you are, yes, we did get them all.
Yes, I think there's between like 1 and 3 in each level. And
some of them are kind of hidden. They're harder to find.
And there are some missions that I don't think have any, and some of them are easy to find. Other ones aren't. And then there are some that are like miles away at a different building. When you're in a building, and the only way you can find them is they use a sniper rifle and shoot them.
Yeah, so take the 2 manliest men you can think of, and they go after little kitty cats.
Yeah, so a lot of kitty cats, to quote Carrie Heffernan from The King of Queens, when they go to the bed and breakfast.
So basically, you're shooting Marmalade or Mr. Boots or whatever cat.
Gail's cat from Bob's Burgers. Mr. Business.
El Diablo.
Yeah, Mr. Business.
And Little King Trashmouth.
Yeah, so you don't get anything, I think, when you shoot them. I think you might get money.
Oh, excuse me, the last 2 names I mentioned were for raccoons.
Okay.
I don't know why I said them.
Okay, well...
Brain freeze.
Yeah. Well, when you shoot the cats in the 40th day, you might get money, but I don't remember. But they're just for collectability, really. And so they're okay. They're a fun little distraction. So they kind of add a little more depth to the game, because now you're not just killing hordes of mindless baddies, but you also have to find stuff.
But the game was still linear and repetitive like the first one, because you mostly just shot people.
Yeah. So it had a little more variety, but it was more like gimmicky stuff that really didn't do much.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people didn't like the morality choices, and I can see why people complained about them, because they don't affect anything, but at the same time they're harmless.
Yeah.
So just deal with it. I mean, it doesn't hurt the game or anything. They're just kind of like unnecessary.
Like I said, when they do show you the outcome, the whole thing is like 30 seconds long. Maybe.
Yeah, it's not going to take a lot of time. They're just kind of like forgettable.
And there's actually a couple of them. And then for the downloadable content, now with this downloadable content, you actually had to pay for it. I think it was $20, And what you got was you got 2 extra levels. And what these 2 levels were that they were supposed to they were levels that took place during I would say during the game, maybe the middle part.
Sometime during.
They're supposed to fill in some time gaps between the other parts of the game.
Yeah, I think so.
And so we downloaded them and played them. So because of that, we played them out of order. They should really be played chronological. You should download them first and then start from the beginning of the game and then play them in chronological order because they both fit in between other.
Well, we
levels.
played the whole game first, then we went back to
So they fill in little story gaps during the game, and they were fine too. I like them. I mean, they were
no complaints.
My only complaint was they're too expensive. I think 2 extra levels should be $20, or $10.
Well, they're trying to fuck you in the ass,
but it's just them trying to get squeeze more money out of
you. Money. Yeah, I need money to buy the things or whatever that Big Mountain Fudge Cake song was.
It's the Big Mountain Fudge Cake song. So I want to get money to buy the things I want to buy or something.
From King of the Hill, John Redcorn's band.
But remember the motto of the video game developers: the cash cow goes moo.
I think that was in reference to
Metallica.
Yes, I think one of their albums.
Oh, where they put James Hetfield on the dollar bill.
Yeah.
Remember the end of the cash cow goes woo? Oh, it was from that website.
Oh, yeah.
Like that anti-MTV website.
Yes, or whatever, yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, though, the Devil's... I'm jumping ahead here.
Yeah, so the 40th day is worth it. You get it cheap. And I would get the DLC anyway because those 2 extra levels are fun and they kind of flesh out the story.
Yes, and it's generally, I think, regarded as better than the first one, but I think it's still got mixed reviews.
Yeah.
So the first 2 games we thought were better than what people said, you have to know what you're getting. Don't expect Shakespeare.
And like always, they're more fun when you play with a buddy in the actual room and you can talk to each other, and they're most fun when you're playing with a super hot naked chick too. Which is the preferable way to play.
Yes.
If you can find a hot naked chick who will play Army of Two with you.
And then we come to the 3rd game in the series where this is where the real meat of this episode comes from. Yeah. Is Army of Two: The Devil's Cartel, which came out in 2013, and it's kind of been noted as the little retarded brother of the first 2 Army of Two games.
The little retarded black sheep of games. And it was, according to Wikipedia, a commercial failure.
I believe so, and I think the studio that made it is no longer around.
Yeah, and apparently while making the game, employee morale was low.
And I don't know if the same studio that made the first 2 Army of Two games. All I know is I think the studio that made Army of Two: The Devil's Cartel, I think, is gone now. I think so.
Okay, I don't remember the name of
the studio. But I don't know if it was the same studio that made the other 2.
Okay, let's get into this shitstorm, shall we?
Now, okay, basically, I'll go through the plot again.
Plot first, just like the other 2. Okay. So, what is the super awesome plot of Army of Two: The Devil's Cartel?
In keeping with the theme, once again, of shithole countries, the Devil's Cartel is no exception. This time they go to Mexico. And basically you fight the Devil's Cartel, which from our knowledge is basically like an army's worth of people. Yeah. And then and shit happens, shit goes wrong, shit blows up. Yeah. And that's basically the idea of the plot, and we're not going to go through specifics here. But there's one we will talk about because it's, I think, part of one of the complaints of the game. And in general, the complaints are, at least the 2 biggest ones, are the story and like I said, the gameplay, where it's really repetitive. Yeah. Because out of all 3 games, we'll start with the gameplay first. Is out of all 3 games, people, I think this is the most repetitive out of all of them and the most linear, but that's not saying much because the first 2 are not open world like Zelda games.
Now, before we get into the gameplay, I want to talk about the cartel facts of the game. One thing I do like about the game, this is a minor thing, is that in the main menu they actually try to educate you with facts about Mexican drug cartels.
We don't know if these are real
or fake or whatever, or based in reality or based in no reality.
But it's like a ticker tape,
or based in alternate reality.
But think of it as like
a ticker tape,
like at the bottom of Fox News or any other fake news, or any fake news channel,
CNN.
Well, anything but Fox News. So all that shitty
so
news in quotation mark channels.
So they have a ticker at the bottom of the screen. It gives you drug cartel facts. And it tells you all kinds of neat facts about Mexican drug cartels and stuff, which I'm assuming are realistic, or at least try to be, which I actually like because it makes it more like, it makes it more realistic because it tries to tie it into the real world.
Yes.
And basically, just as drug cartels are bad, Mexico is really fucked up. and that the drug cartels need to be stopped, and Mexico needs to really take care of their drug cartel problem.
Yes.
And so basically, Army of Two, the Devil's Cartel then transitions into edutainment, because it's entertainment, but it also tries to be educational, and it actually succeeds.
And another part of the plot is you're supposed to protect somebody who's I think they're trying to. They're like a politician or something.
Cordova.
Yes, and he wants to like stop the cartels.
Oh, just as a side note, what's really funny is Cordova looks like Senator Ted Cruz.
Yes,
from Texas.
So there's a conspiracy in there.
Yeah, which is
I think
weird.
I detect another possible conspiracy corner episode.
Yeah. So I just want to be clear. You are not protecting Ted Cruz in the game, okay? You're just protecting somebody who looks kind of like him called Cordova. So, now with that side note we'll move into the game itself. Now, the game is very similar to the other two. Good weapon customization system. It also contains rappers who did the theme song for it, Big Boy and Bob. I've never heard of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, anyway, something like that.
They're like new recruits who joined the Two organization or Trans World organization. And
no, this has nothing to do with transgenderism.
No. And they are in the game briefly in the beginning.
You see them like in the cutscene.
Yeah, and that's it. They don't do anything. And I don't think they're in the rest of the game either. But anyway, what's interesting is that two new characters are introduced called Alpha and Bravo. And I played Alpha, player 1, and James played Bravo, because he was player 2.
Yes, and now I'm assuming these are like code names or nicknames, but that's all you get. So
very generic.
There are no other names.
So they're new, they're rookies. And so you take on the roles of them as opposed to Salem and Rios.
Yeah, Salem Witch Trials and Tyson Chicken.
And what's weird is when you play, because since I was player 1, I had the top part of the screen and James had the bottom part of the screens did not take up the whole TV screen. You're part of the screen. It was like a few inches away from like the end, I think.
Maybe.
I don't know if the other two Army of Two games did this too in split screen, and it's not a big deal. It's just weird that when it divides the screen up like that, they both don't fill the whole screen. And when you played one player, I'm assuming it would fill the whole screen. So I have no idea why in split screen it would not do this, but it's just a weird side note.
So anyway, you play them, and Salem and Rios are in the game. They're part of the plot, but you don't get to play them. And then there's also like a handful of other mercs too.
Yeah, Houston.
You meet throughout the game, like the story.
There one's called Houston. There's Baker and Chewie.
Yes.
But they're really all interchangeable, and a lot of them you only see a little bit, and a lot of time, and it's for some of them when they're introduced, they get killed like a minute later.
I think there's also like Mason, Bradley.
I remember Bradley. Mason, I don't.
Well, he was earlier in the game, but a lot of these people die right away.
They died. They soon after they're introduced, they die quickly, so you'll get to know them.
And also, Alice isn't in the game. She like the first two. She was
Alice
like
Murray.
She was the person who talked to you
through the radio.
Yeah, like radio, like in your helmet.
Yeah.
I think in the second game it said she like died. She like blew up. Like she was in a helicopter and it blew up or something. in the 40th day.
I do not remember that.
I think it mentions that here in the plot line I have. But anyway, though, she's not in the third game. But you meet like a girl called Fiona who helps you out. So there are other characters.
So she
in the game.
basically replaces Alice.
Kind of, I guess, in a way. But she's actually there. She doesn't. Yeah. I think she does talk to you over the radio.
She does,
but then you actually
that's how you first make contact with her, and then eventually she joins you and fucking kills people too. Bitches.
Yeah, she's a bitch with a gun.
She's one tough ass bitch. So,
but anyway, though, of
course, make that very clear.
You have ludicrous scenarios and over the top action and waves of people. There's some gameplay things I want to go over. Then we'll get to the story part.
So let's start off with the gameplay elements. And these are what a lot of people had complaints about, was that unlike the 40th day, which took the first game and expanded and added a few more gameplay elements to add a little more variety, this game strips that all away and actually dilutes it and makes it more streamlined.
Now, this sounds worse than it really is because there wasn't really much more in the first two games.
So in this
you're not taking away much.
So in this game, you can distract all your enemies so the other one can flank.
But there's no meter,
There's no aggro meter, though. And it's not called aggro. Aggro's not referred to.
But it still exists.
But the concept still exists. So it actually makes it a little more difficult because you kind of have to judge how much attention the enemies are giving to your partner than you. Because what the aggro meter would tell you this, you kind of have to do it on your own because there is no aggro meter. Also, there's no back-to-back scenarios. And
which is kind of disappointing because they were fun.
They were neat. No hostages, no chests or trunks to get weapons from.
No collectibles.
No parasailing with the underutilized gyroscope feature.
But there are vehicles like trucks and stuff.
Yep. No bottle silencers. They got rid of those.
And helicopters, too.
No cats to shoot or collect. No morality choices. I know,
that matters.
But they do add a few other things too. For example, like destructible environments, where if you
take cover behind something, it can get destroyed, and you have to get new cover.
Which makes it difficult to do. There are melee attacks, which I believe the first two games did not have.
No, we're going to use a knife to kill people.
That's when Mexican drug people come up with a baseball bat or something to try to beat the shit out of you, or a machete. That what you can do is you can push them back, stop them from hitting you with your weapon, and you can remove your Bowie knife, and you can stab them in the fucking head.
Yeah, so you can take their machete away, like you tap a button, like quick time kind of thing.
Yeah, and so you can kill people with your big ass Rambo knife.
And as for another gameplay thing people complained about is what was I gonna say? Oh, the AI, the artificial intelligence, like the bad guys, how sometimes they'll take cover, but sometimes they won't. And like when you're driving a car, they'll just walk in front of the car and get hit. Or if you're wounded on the ground, and the other person has to give you like the adrenaline shot to save you. It says the bad guys will just stand around and not try to shoot the person or kill him who's wounded, on the ground.
Oh yeah.
But from what I remember is when that happened, they would attack the other person. They just wouldn't stand there, but they wouldn't go after the person who's on the ground. They would attack like your partner, the other person. I think that happened a lot. But no, I don't think they just stood there like a bunch of retards.
Also, when the enemies would get injured and they'd be on the ground, they would still shoot at you. Did they do that in the first two games?
I don't remember.
Okay. Well, anyway, that was cool because it made it more challenging because when you shot somebody and they went down, you don't know if they were really down or not.
Also, the people said that the enemies were dumb because they would just charge at you like if they had a machete. But if you have a machete, what are you going to do? Throw it at the person?
There were moments in the game, though, where they would come up from behind you.
Yeah, I think the AI was okay.
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
I think people kind of...
I think they were made to be dumber than...
I think people kind of exaggerated
Also, enemies, there was more detail to the injuries because you shot people, especially with the shotgun. You could blow off limbs.
Yes.
You could blow their fucking heads off. You know, when you shot them in the stomach, like there'd be big like holes and stuff. The first 2 games didn't have that. So along with the destructible environments, the gore I think was better because people's heads could be missing, their arms and legs would come off. So it was actually a little more graphic, which was really badass. I really like that.
Another thing with the game is what was I gonna say? I keep
gameplay elements?
Yes, I keep losing my train
Overkill.
of thought. Is okay. That's one thing. Let's go through that.
Okay, Overkill was a feature that was added that the other 2 games did not have. And Overkill was when you killed enough people, you would go into Overkill, which would slow the time down, like bullet time, like the Matrix,
and then
still parroting
and then your bullets became more powerful, so like everything you shot was a missile.
So basically, and you didn't have to reload either. You had infinite ammo. So if you had machine automatic weapons, you could just sit there and just blast everybody. And there would be limbs flying, and people are dying. The blood's being spilled, and cars are just fucking exploding. You shoot them with bullets. Everybody's dying.
It's like the literal incarnation of Army of 2.
And it's total destruction. And it's really cool, and it only lasts for like a few seconds.
And then it has to charge up again.
Yeah.
And then each person can do it, so if you both do it, it's like double?
Yeah, I think it's double. I think you both can do it and you get double damage. You can just completely slaughter every piece of shit that comes your way. And everything blows up.
Another complaint that one person had with the game was a part in the game, like a sequence where building's on fire and you're like sliding down the wall of the building.
Oh yes, I remember
this one. I want to mention it where they said that there's no tension and it's really undramatic.
Yes,
like
it's
the
part where you're in the resort and the building falls apart.
And I guess the thing is that's all true, but the whole thing lasts a fucking like 15 seconds.
I would say the whole slide building sequence, which I will say that as you're doing it, you really can't get hurt. I don't think you can fail it because I think I really don't. It's slow. It's like a leisurely slide, like wee. It's wee. Cold Heifer and Filbert from Rocko's Modern Life. And it's slow, it's leisurely, it's non-threatening.
There's like 2 bad guys that you have to shoot.
Yeah, there are only a few bad guys. But the whole sequence, and the sequence should have been more challenging, it should have been more difficult, it should have been more life-threatening. Don't get me wrong. But the problem is that the whole sequence lasts between, 15 and 30 seconds? And it only happens once in the game?
So it's so short, it's not even worth mentioning.
It's a very minor complaint.
It doesn't really affect anything at all.
And then people say when you drive vehicles, the cartel people will just walk into your car and die.
Yes, I mentioned that before.
And again, I don't think that was as bad as what people said it was. No. And again, those parts don't last that long either, and there aren't that many of them.
And let's see what the gameplay is. Let's see. We talked about the wall. And then let's see. Another thing with customizing stuff I forgot to mention before was masks. You can You can buy new masks
and gear too.
And I think all the games you can buy.
You could buy new masks, tattoos.
I don't know if tattoos were in the first 2.
I don't remember.
But you can buy all kinds of stuff.
So that was cool.
I just want to mention
the masks, the tattoos, the tactical gear really doesn't add anything to the game. They don't change gameplay, but they're fun.
I think you can make your own masks in Army 2: The Devil's Cartel, I think.
Okay.
Somehow.
Well, anyway, the gameplay is more streamlined than the first 2 games, a lot of critics didn't like that because it made it more simple. But to be honest with you, we really did not mind because the things they took out, like
soda bottle silencers,
like the aggro is still there, but there's just no meter. You can still distract people. There's no soda bottle silencers, which were just a gimmick anyway.
That's not a big deal to us.
There's no hostages or chests or anything, which were just small parts of the 40th day. Back-to-back segments in the first 2 games, there were only a few of them, and they were only like a minute long each, maybe at most. So the things that they took out And also melee attacks are new too. The first two games didn't have that either. And the first two games also did not have overkill mode. But the stuff they did take out in Devil's Cartel were just little things that really weren't main focuses in the first two games. So they just took out some like extra secondary stuff, which were okay, but they weren't big parts of the game to begin with.
I mean, I couldn't tell that the studio suffered from low morale.
And same thing with like collecting stuff. I personally didn't miss shooting cats or collecting items. How about you?
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's a third-person shooter. You really don't collect stuff anyway.
Another thing I remembered is this goes back to playing as Alpha and Bravo instead of Salem and Rios. Is the idea that might be behind that, this is speculation again, is that the company or the developer did that so that it would feel more like you're playing the character.
Because they gave them more generic names.
Yeah, because they were more like generic, like Elf and Bravo, instead of playing Salem and Rios. So it was more like you're in the game, like you're the character, which to me did not give me that feeling really. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's not bad that you don't play as Salem and Rios, like it doesn't ruin the game that you're playing two generic characters. But I just want to say that it is just kind of weird. It's not like a negative thing, but it's just kind of weird or strange.
I'll admit, when I first found out that in the Devil's Cartel you played as two other characters, you did not play as Rios and Tom.
No, I'll admit, I was disappointed.
And I was actually pissed.
Because I didn't think they'd be in the game at all.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I was disappointed and I was pissed too. But then, when we started the game, maybe like 10 minutes into or whatever, I didn't really give a fuck.
Well, once we figured out that Salem
were still in the game,
Salem and Rios were still in the game, you just couldn't play them. Then it was okay.
And the two new characters, Alpha and Bravo, were fine, and they actually act similar to Tyson and Salem.
Well, they all do.
Yeah, they all make stupid jokes that Mercs would make. And I also like how they kind of have some consistency between the characters, because with Alpha, he wants to buy a fishing boat. I think it's Alpha, right?
One of them, and then the other one has like a girl.
Bravo has some kind of girl back home, and he wants to start a family, so he wants to get some.
Something.
All I can say is because they're mercs and they're hot and they're buff and stuff, Bravo's girl must be hot too. So apparently he wants to get some pussy when he gets back home, and he wants to start, impregnating her, pumping out kids.
No fat chicks there.
Oh God, no! There are no fat chicks in Army of Two. The honeys are fine. I will tell you. I can tell you right now, the women that they can get in Army of Two are the most finest, most succulent, most hottest pieces of ass you can possibly motherfucking imagine. I mean, because they're the ones who can get them, folks.
And on that note, we have totally gone off the rails.
Yes, but anyway, though, but Alpha does talk about his fishing both throughout the game. Bravo does mention starting a family, which I like because it keeps consistency. It does add some kind of character development,
and there isn't a lot, but a little bit. There probably could have been more.
And I think Tyson Rios might have mentioned he had a girl too, or something in the previous game.
I think he has a sister,
or in the graphic novel. I think in the graphic novel he talks about he had a girlfriend or a wife or something. But anyway, though, that the dialogue and the stuff they talk about where they make like stupid jokes or like gay jokes or whatever,
that was exaggerated.
That was the same as the first two games, which fit the characters, and again, it's fine. So.
Okay, for the gay jokes, I just want to bring up this really quick. Is one person said that all they do is the main characters is make gay jokes. Now, on principle, gay jokes are fucking awesome. We have no problem.
They're hilarious
as long as you don't overdo it. That's our only complaint. The gay jokes. The amount of gay jokes in Army to the Devil's Cartel we thought was exaggerated. They do a couple in the beginning, a couple at the end, and I think you're going to ask me about the total. I would say it's got to be less than 10.
Yeah, I was going to say, how many of those types of jokes do you think are in the game?
If they top 10, that's amazing.
I would say probably could count them on one hand.
Yeah, probably even half that.
Yeah, because what I like about Army 2 is that the jokes are funny. They did make a few there were a few instances people were complaining that during serious situations, Alfred Bravo would ruin the tension, totally obliterating it by making stupid jokes.
Well, one person's complaint was that when they made jokes during something serious, the jokes wouldn't land or they wouldn't work because it was so serious. For us, it's more like if they make jokes during something serious or dramatic, it ruins the serious or dramatic thing. That's the way we look at it. Is it makes it funny then? This person was saying that it stays serious or like dramatic, but the jokes just don't work.
The jokes don't. Yeah, they don't.
And
land.
it seemed like most of the jokes they made were like during downtime.
Usually, we don't like it when you take a serious situation, and this applies to movies too. Or movies, or video games, or whatever it is, and you put humor during scenes like that because it ruins the seriousness of the situation that is currently at hand. We think if something's going serious, you should just keep it that way, and you shouldn't interject humor into it.
You gotta have strategically placed humor,
and Army of
like during downtime.
And all 3 Army of Two games, because I think the first 2 did this too, where they had jokes during serious situations, but I don't think it was overdone to the point where it became a big problem.
No, because like I said, our opinion is it makes the situation funny. This other person said that the situation like stays serious because it's like so serious that the jokes don't work, but we think of it as it ruins the seriousness.
Also, another part.
So we're kind of like the opposites.
Another part of the game I like is when they find the marijuana facility where they make go in the plants and then it like gets lit on fire and then the marijuana like goes up in smoke and then one of them says like man, all the marijuana's like going up in smoke, and then I think like Alpha or one of them, I don't remember which one it was, said that what, it's a good way to die because you'll get high, because when you choke to death on smoke you get high. So I thought that was clever because the
I remember that.
Plants get lit on fire. I like that. That was fun.
Okay, so
now I'm guessing we're gonna head into probably the most controversial part of Army of Two, the Devil's Cartel.
Yes, there's one of the big complaints was the story, and I'm assuming it's going to be the part we're talking about. And like I said, this is our best guess of what people are probably referring to. And this is a spoiler, but of course there's going to be a spoiler warning at the beginning of this. So if you
little late to tell you that now, right?
Yes. Well, before this episode, we're going to have a recording warning. And if you're still listening to this and you fuck up your enjoyment because
that's your own damn fault.
Before you played the game, you listened to this, so you heard the spoiler. Well, then that's too fucking bad because you're an idiot.
Because we warned you.
Yes. So if you're stupid, you're stupid. So anyway, on that note, we'll move right into it. And the part of the story that we're talking about is where you figure out the identity of El Diablo, because for most of the game you don't know who he is.
Because he's like the second in command of the drug cartel.
Yes, right? he's like a big bad guy in the game. Like he's under Bautista. He's kind of like
leader of the cartel.
Yes,
he's like the second in the chain of command, I think.
So in the spoiler moment, you find out that he's Salem, because Salem, Elliot Salem,
he thought he died in an explosion.
Yes, he turns into a bad guy because I think he said Rios was like just bossing him around and they were making all this money.
First of all,
Salem wasn't like getting
any. First
of
all, Salem also had mental issues from the very first game. They even say this. He was always on the edge. And then
he didn't want to save people.
Big Tyson, I think, was more down to earth. I think.
Well, he had more like morality.
Salem was kind of like
he just wanted to make the money. Just do the mission.
This isn't the mission, So Tyson was like, we need to help these people. Salem was more like, they're not the mission. We're just going to stick to the mission, get the fucking money. Hump hookers. Hump chicks, whatever.
Rios would go out of his way to help.
After done with the mission, we're gonna go fuck some hoes. The cool Kid Rock from American Badass.
Yes.
He was more like that. And in the beginning of the Devil's Cartel, the first couple levels, it's a flashback I see which leads up to the events in the Devil's Cartel.
The first mission you do where you rescue
Yeah.
Fiona is takes place a couple years before.
And then what happens is it shows you that with Salem, he's in a truck, he gets hit by a mortar or a missile or something, they think he's dead. So then Rios tries to go save him, but then another mortar missile hits the ground and injures him, and then you escape. Alpha and Bravo escape with Rios and Fiona, and you basically Salem, they think he's dead, so they leave him behind. And then it turns out Salem is not dead. And
and then 5 years later,
super pissed off that you left him for dead, and he doesn't care that you thought he was dead. Well, so then he joins Bautista's drug cartel and becomes El Diablo.
Yes, and I think it's because
he's insane.
He thought that he was always Rios' bitch, and that he could make more money than with the drug cartel or something like that.
Is because Rios, because the mortar hits and his leg gets all fucked up and shit. So then in Devil's Cartel he gets a fake leg because they have to amputate it.
Well, after the explosion,
he gets a fake leg, gets a metal leg. So basically, he's kind of like the Bionic Man from the $60 million Man from the TV show.
Yeah, but in this case,
they don't want to spend a lot of money.
Well, they did spend a lot of money on him because it's better than Peter from Family Guy.
And also is a fact because of this. Tyson Rios would be eligible for the Paralympics. So
wow, that's
too soon.
Well, it's not like anything happened with the Paralympics. It's just a weird comment to make. But
just say though, because now he's technically handicapped or disabled.
Well, if there was a Merc para,
he could be in it because he's missing a leg. So he has a metal leg.
He would easily take the gold if there was Merc stuff in it.
Oh yeah, he would clean house. He would fucking destroy.
But anyway, we're getting totally off track here, so we'll go back.
So that's another topic. Tyson Rios in the Paralympics. Think about it.
So anyway, we'll go back to the El Diablo thing.
Yeah.
So basically, the first 2 games kind of set it up. Yeah. And for me, for the third one, the first 2 games set it up.
Now, because in the first 2 games, I played Tyson Rios and you played Elliot Salem. Since you actually played in the first 2 games, what do you think about him basically switching sides and becoming the enemy in the Devil's Cartel?
I never thought of that, but that makes sense. You'd ask me that because I have a more personal attachment to him.
Yes, because
I had my hand up his ass.
Yeah, because you played him in the first 2 games. So how do you feel about them doing this with the character?
And to clarify, I played him, not played with him.
There is a difference.
Okay, so because I have a more personal attachment to him.
Yes.
Well, I didn't see it coming. That's my first reaction.
I will be honest.
As lame as that might sound, I did not think they were going to go that direction.
I'm going to be honest, too, that when you first saw Diablo, he's wearing a mask. He looks like a merc, and he kind of talks a little. He whispers a little bit, so you really don't hear his voice. It's muffled when he talks to Bautista a few times. I did not know it was him, but then, of course, when he...
Well, yeah, until they tell him.
Yeah, when they finally abduct Alpha and Bravo in Cordova, and then eventually he shoots Cordova's in the fucking head and kills him, executes him. And he lifts his mask up and reveals it's Salem. Basically, I did not know it was him until he reveals himself, which was what the intention was.
I was shocked.
I have to say I was surprised too, because I did not see that coming, and I did not suspect it was him. Because up until that point, I thought Salem was dead. So when some of the critics were saying that they didn't like the story for the Devil's Cartel and what they did with it, and then when you think Salem died in the thing when his truck gets hit by the missile, and you leave him for dead, presumably. I thought the problem was that they killed off Salem. He actually died, and that's why people were pissed. So that's what I thought it was up until the point when he reveals himself to be Salem.
Yes.
And then the problem became Salem became bad. And that's what people were bitching about. Not that he died, it's because he became evil.
So basically, because this was supposed to be my opinion, which started off that way and then became your opinion, is... I'll agree with everything you said, but I guess the thing is that I knew Salem was always a little bit more rough around the edges, I guess, but I didn't think he would become a bad guy. No, I didn't see that coming because I didn't think he was that bad. So I give him a lot of credit for making that choice. I thought it was kind of an original idea.
I have to agree. I agree with that. I get the people had balls to take a character you actually played,
a beloved character, or a mixed review, or a character from a mixed review franchise,
and actually do something like that with them.
So it is kind of sad because, especially if you played him,
it is.
But it makes sense because of the way he acted in the first.
And I played a character who fought alongside him. And what's interesting is I can't think of another series where during the series they actually make you play other characters. They take the primary characters you played in the previous installments and make them like supporting characters or secondary characters, background characters, and they make you play new characters. But then they'll also take that one of the primary characters and actually do something like that with them where it changes.
Well, what's funny is
and I can't think of another series that ever did that.
What's funny is you're kind of like playing the secondary characters in the story. Because it's almost like the stories about Salem and Rios, but you're playing not the main characters in the story, but you're playing Elf and Bravo, who, like I said before, are the secondary characters, which is kind of weird, but I guess kind of interesting. So, like I said, is the twist makes sense, and it is kind of sad to see him become a bad guy, but I give him a lot of credit, though. And then the last thing I want to address is at the end when he's in jail and he gets let out because they don't kill him. They were going to, but then they decide to just arrest him. So he's in the jail and he carves Alice's name on the jail cell, like the wall of the jail cell. And that's funny because we thought she died, and according to the plot of according to like the summary for the Army to the 40th day. So apparently she's still alive, and when he gets out, he's gonna go after her.
And so much like the Marvel movies, they now have in video games they have endings that take this extended scene. They have extra scenes during the credits.
Yes,
which I think this was the first game I've played where they did that.
So that's what it seems like that he's supposed to go after her, so she's still alive.
I don't.
But as far as we know, there's not going to be another Army of Two game.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe later, but we don't know of anyone.
I can't recall any other video game where they have a scene take place during the end credits like that, like a movie.
No,
this is the first one I could think of where they did that. But anyway,
But Army of Two, the Devil's Cartel's usually the lowest ranked out of all the Army of Two games. And like I said, the plot is no different than the first two. It's your typical big budget action movie plot, and I thought it was fine. When I first started playing the game, I thought it was going to be okay because people said, okay, it's not that great. So I thought it would be a little better than what they thought, but it turned out it exceeded my expectations. Like I thought it was a lot better than it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like okay or decent, but I thought it was actually pretty good.
I liked its grittiness and that it pulled no punches because, because it made Salem bad. He kills Cordova. He shoots Tyson Rios. That throws him off a balcony, but Rios doesn't die. He just shoots him in the stomach.
Yeah, they took some risks.
He kills Fiona too. He shoots her in the fucking head, just like Cordova. I mean, it's brutal. It's ruthless. It's real world stuff. He doesn't fuck around. It goes right for the throat, just like the last two games. Which
like real world problems.
Yes, real. I guess you call it like third world problems or first world problems.
Shithole world problems.
Salem kills like people from the organization he belonged to, and so it's from that standpoint, it's brutal and dark, but it's a real fun game that's definitely worth playing, and yeah, and also like I said, he has the thing during the end credits. I don't know if there's gonna be a sequel or not, and
no, we haven't heard of any, but who knows? The future can change.
Yeah. Also, for the downloadable content, because we should talk about that too. This also is downloadable content, and it costs money. There's 2 of them, and this is different than it costs money like the 40th day, but it's different because It's not extra levels like the first two games. It's separate contract missions that have nothing to do with the main campaign. And what they are
is there overkill missions?
There's one that gets you, I think, 3 missions, overkill missions, and then there's one that gets you an overkill mission that stars Big Boy and Bob, the rappers.
Is it Rob or Bob?
I think it's Bob. It's like B period dot O period. No, it's like B period O period.
Well,
period B.
you play as Baker and Chewie, I think.
Yeah. But anyway,
I think that's their names in the game.
But I think they might do the voices. I really don't know.
Well, they also do like the theme song.
Yes. So
I think.
Anyway, is that they voice those characters and they have a overkill mission that you play. And we played all 4 of these, and their overkill missions, what they do is you have a time limit and you have to stay in overkill mode, and you have to blast your way through like enemies. And once you get out of overkill mode, you have 30 seconds to get back in overkill mode.
Or it's over.
Yeah,
the contract is over.
And then there's like a pause period in the middle of the level, and then then the timer starts again, and then you go in overkill mode, and then you have to get to the end of the level, and then you have to kill the brute, and then you get to the exit truck. And they're very difficult to play, but they're fun, and they can get frustrating at times, and you can make a shitload of money though. If you want to get everything in the game and buy everything and make money, this is the way to do it, because you can get a lot of money, because you have to be in overkill mode, and when you do it, you get more money when you kill people. And our recommendation for and with the ones with Big Boy and Bob, that level's a little longer. That has actually 2 break periods. There are 3 parts to it. The other ones only have 2. You have to make your way to the middle part where there's a break. Then you do overkill, get to the break period where you don't have to be in overkill mode. Then you go in overkill mode, and then you can get to the end of the level. Well, at the last contract, the 4th one, you have to do the overkill thing, get to the break point, do overkill, get to another break point, then do overkill, and then you can beat it. So it's a little longer, so it's a little more difficult. But our recommendation for overkill contract modes is that you only use fully automatic weapons, get something like the saw with a 200-round drum, and then because we tried it with non-automatic weapons, and I think it's impossible to beat them because you need a rapid-fire gun.
Once you figure out how to do it, it's hard at first because you have to get used to it. But he's right though about the automatic weapons. Even with anything less is
you won't do it. You can't do it. Even with the automatic weapons, it's difficult.
Yes, anything less than an automatic weapon with a 200-round clip.
Yeah, and you only do that because that way, if you get out of overkill mode, you keep killing people and get back into it. Because remember, when you're in overkill mode, you have infinite ammo and you don't reload. So. Also, the other thing I remembered is that I like is when you can put clips on your gun to decrease reload time, like I think they're called like rail clips or something. I don't know.
Something like that.
But those do decrease reload time, so that's cool. And for the shotgun, you have Dragon's Breath, where you can light people on fire with exploding shells. That's
cool. I don't know how realistic that is, but it could.
But basically, in these overkill contracts, you want fully automatic with at least 100-round clips. Because when you're in overkill mode, something like the shotgun or bolt action, like the M1 or M1
or revolver,
just doesn't do shit. You won't pass it. I don't think you can.
Especially if you get out of overkill mode. But anyway, though,
you just need something that continuously fires because you have to destroy as many things and kill as many people as possible to stay in overkill mode. So they're frustrating and they're difficult, but they're fun. And you can make a lot of money. Buy more shit with
once you figure out how the shit goes down, they are fun. So I do recommend giving them a whirl because we beat them all. So anyway, I think then that's it.
Yeah, the graphics are good, the sound is good, the voice acting is good. Everything.
And this is all the games.
Yeah, everything's on par with the first 2 games. And what I liked is because with all 3 games, since they're more on rails and they're more streamlined. They feel like movies because you don't deviate from the plot.
Yes, they have a movie feeling.
They have a very cinematic feeling to them, and that's really cool. And they make good use of surround sound system with a subwoofer. So if you like these types of games, they're like cinematic feeling, cinematic quality to them. Then we definitely recommend the Army of Two.
Yes, and if you don't want to think too hard, it's a good choice to me.
And they're repetitive. But most shooter games are.
And we have a very high tolerance for repetitiveness.
Yes. And if you play them in short bursts, you can't go wrong.
Yes,
They're fun co-op games.
If you tried to beat the whole game in like one day, I could see maybe getting bored. But if you just play for an hour or two, like at a time, like every day or couple days, to us, it doesn't get old. It doesn't get like mind-numbing or repetitive.
Yeah.
So if you play in short bursts, you should be okay.
You have some vehicles like in Devil's Cartel. You have the ghetto truck where it doesn't work. You push it down a hill. One of them shoots a machine gun. Another one drives. That's kind of fun. And then you have the machine guns. You have turrets you have to take out that have armor. And you have brutes. The people who stand behind the guns. And you have to take flake them to take them out.
The people in Army of Two, the Devil's Cartel that have all the armor and the bigger guns, they're called brutes and not heavies.
Okay, but they're the same concept.
Yeah, they're kind of like bosses.
And then all three games have those stationary guns that are shielded, and you have to go around the back to kill them.
Yeah, like a turret. They're stationary. Yeah.
Those are cool too. And then you have the machine gun on the truck, and you have the mortars and stuff. And there's some neat things with helicopters, which are really cool. So yeah, I would definitely. And think you can kill people with the environment because you can have shoot gasoline tanks and stuff and they explode.
And you can throw grenades.
Yeah. So yeah, I would definitely recommend them. So
I don't know if you could throw grenades in the first two.
I think you could.
I think you could. Yeah. But that's always fun.
Anyway, though, yeah, I would highly recommend the Army of Two games, and they're very fun third-person shooters, co-op third-person shooters, and so I would definitely recommend them. And
they're more fun with a partner, especially if it's a sex partner.
And especially with the third one, that was underrated. So yeah, I would recommend them. So go check them out. And you can get them really cheap now.
Yes. The third game was the most underrated out of all.
Also, the third game, there is the Overkill Edition.
Yes.
Which I don't know what the difference is. Besides, it says Overkill Edition.
I think that's the one we have.
Yes.
Well, I think the regular edition, you had to download, like, the Overkill stuff. Well, with the new copy of the Overkill Edition, I think it came with that stuff already in the game, the downloadable content. Okay. I think our Overkill Edition was used, so we had to download it. But I think if it's new, you just get all the DLC.
You know what?
I think that's what it is.
I think what happened was if you bought the new Overkill Edition, it probably let you download the Overkill contracts for free because it was included in the price. I don't think they came on the actual disc. Because when we played it...
Yeah, I think that's...
We had to download the content, I think.
Yes, so. Like you got it for free. I think so what we're trying to say is with the regular edition is you had to download the Overkill stuff, like the bonus stuff, but you had to pay for it. With the Overkill edition, I think you could download it all too, but it was just free. If it was a new copy of the Overkill edition, we had a used copy, so we had to pay for it.
Yeah.
I think.
And again, though, the only complaint is that
I think that's how it worked.
But I think it was like $20 for both Overkill things, Overkill packs. It was like $10 a piece or something.
Yeah.
Again, they were too expensive. They shouldn't have been that much. But what are you gonna do?
But anyway, that's
DLC stuff's asinine, but there's no way around.
No, but the DLC stuff is good though.
So anyway, we recommend all three games and downloading the DLC for all of them because you do get your money's worth. So this was for Army of Two, the Army of Two series or franchise or whatever you want to call it. So we highly recommend it. So don't forget, like all our other videos, please leave comments in the comments section, bitches.
Yes. And if you
like this video or any of our other videos, please leave comments.
Yes, if you like it, click the like button for this video. And if you liked any of our other videos, do the same. And you can also subscribe to our channel if you like our stuff enough.
Yes. So this is John Christopher Wagner and
James Michael Wagner
signing out for today. For John.
For John.